Start recording this. Okay, welcome guys to the trading room. My name is Sol, glad to be here with you. Let me share my screen and now we will start with the session. Just before we get started, please on your chat, you have the option to change your settings so everyone, all attendees and panelists can see what you type. I would appreciate if you change to that. That way everyone will see what you type and it will be more interactive and interesting for everyone. And quick disclaimer, this is going to be the way I read the markets and I analyze trades and charts and I manage trades. This is not to be meant to be buy or sell signals. You please be responsible for your own trading. I just want to show you principles that you can apply to your individual situations. And sometimes I go to lower time frames just to show you full setups. But actually, a lot in my trading is it's done on larger time frames. Okay, but if I go to 5-minute charts or 1-minute charts, it's to show you how I enter and manage trades from the beginning till I exit the trade, both on profit or losses. So with that being said, let's start. And there's something very interesting happening on the pound, actually across the US pairs. So let me just show you that. We last week we had, or was this morning? This week, I think it was last week. You know, the Fed and Powell talking about raising interest rate next year, probably twice. So that brought a lot of interest and a lot of demand to the US dollar. So we have seen the US strengthening against other currencies. And you can see that on the USD JPY, on the pound, very easily. You can see how we start breaking down, okay, the pound weakening, the dollar strengthening. And I would like to refer to 3 pairs today. So let's start with the USD JPY. This is a long-term setup. Actually, there was a setup I sent on our pages, our ideas pages, which was this break up, a retest, and I was looking to buy these areas. And now we can see the continuation higher, which is a very nice setup. So make sure you go to that ideas page. There's some good setups posted there. But let's refer to the USD JPY because we were analyzing this kind of structure here, you know, a triangle forming, and price started compressing in this channel, this triangle. And sometimes you have like mentors trying to teach you how to trade these figures here. So usually you wait for a pullback and then a continuation higher. And that's right, as long as you have fresh demand being created here. So you need to go to lower time frames and to see if there's any demand happening there and was created. And if that's the case, then you can wait actually for a pullback to that area and a reaction based off that demand. The trend line has nothing to do with the price coming back and then continuing higher, but the fresh demand being formed here, that would be the reason why the market would go back here and then continue higher. Okay, so that would be the next movement. But actually right now, as long as I want to go long, I cannot go long right now because this movement here, this impulse is overextended. Okay, we have just buying power, buying. So in my point of view, in order to break, you know, this resistance here, we should see a pullback or a sideways movement before we continue higher. Of course, we can't just see the market breaking this resistance and continuing, but this is so overextended. I would really like to see first a pullback, a retracement, in order to position myself with buying orders. If any, I could, I'm not sure, I haven't taken, but I'm considering to go short actually right now, because you have very small risk, okay, if you place your stop above resistance, and then you can place your targets maybe around these areas. That would be a first target area, and that would be a good risk reward. So I'm scanning the market for selling signals. Okay, it's something to tell me the trend is about to reverse, and I might go short, but only with the intention to take a few pips of this retracement before I really build into a long position. That's the movement I want to catch. So that's the dollar yen. Now pound dollar, look at this. We're breaking down a very key support that was holding for many times. Okay, we tested those levels 1, 2, 3 times and held, and now it's breaking now. And the interesting fact is that all this movement back here, it was all compression. Okay, you can see how the market didn't go in a healthy impulse, but it was compressing. So all demand here has been tested, and this might be a very aggressive movement down, all the way to a fresh demand that probably, if we go to hourlies, we might find some here, but we have some room all the way there. So if I go to lower time frames, then I can start looking for selling opportunities. Actually, in other account, I was already short base of these levels right here. I'm holding right now a selling position. So now I can go to lower time frames and start looking for even lower positions. So I like this kind of pullbacks, and I can start looking to short this market. Let's see where that closes, and we can start building some scalps. The only challenge with selling right now is we have already done mostly of the movement, so I don't know how much this is going to continue lower, but still I can start building into low short positions, and that would be valid all the way to, I guess, these levels. So as long as we stay below that red line, I will be looking to short this market. So that's my setup for the GBP USD. We have some more minutes before the 5-minute chart candle closes, and then I'll take a little position. And the Euro USD is quite the same, but the only thing here is we don't have that compression we had on the pound. So I think we are going to test these levels around that area. So we have around 25 pips to move. I don't think without fundamental news we're going to break that level. So in the case of the Euro USD, we can go short on a retracement, but we can also start looking for buying opportunities. And I can start looking for buys. Okay, I will see how price forms around this support, and I can take a buy. If it breaks down, I'll close it and I will wait for a new opportunity to buy. Or if it goes up, I'll look for an opportunity to sell. Okay, so those are my setups. I have my selling setup on the pound, and I have my either buy or sell setup on the Euro USD. So I have to wait and see how the price forms around this area. I don't just go and buy. I want to see how price forms around these levels, and then I will decide if I buy or not. So let me draw this line. I can go to the 1-minute chart. This is the chart where I see the price more clearly, or I can either go to the tick chart here to see how price forms around these levels. Okay. Ultimately, my stop loss, all my setup falls, okay, breaks apart once this level is broken. So I have 25 pips of room to play around that level, both to the long side or to the downside. Joshua also again mentioned that the Fed could run out of money around 10-18. Okay. See how it is forming. Let's bring our if I go long on this pair, on the Euro USD, I do need to remember I'm going against the trend. Okay, so I need to adapt. I'm bearish on the dailies. I'm bearish on the hourlies. I'm bearish on all time frames. So going long is really to take some pips out of the market. It's not a trade I will be looking to hold for long, but just to take a few scalps off the market. Same with the pound. To hold trades, I want to go short, and then those I can try to hold for longer. So let's see how. Okay, we have 3 more minutes here on this one. So that kind of formation, you know what? Let's just start. How's this? Yeah. Okay, let's take just a little trade. Okay, I'll be aiming for a new test of the lows here. Okay, that's my scalp trade. Now, depending on how that forms, I will decide if I hold this for longer and I see the market gaining momentum in my favor, and then I can swing this trade, because as I said on the dailies, we have many room, plenty of room to run. But just analyzing the lower time frames is hard to get into a trade where you can get many pips of them. So let's see the way it's forming right now. All the tails on the top, that's showing me some selling pressure. So I'm fine. All my setup, I mentioned, will break down that area. So let's see how that forms. We have 2 more minutes on this one, so let's wait and see what's going on with the euro. Yeah, you're right. Again, we see the attempt to go higher, and then that fails. Then some tails on the top, so we might see a breakdown. So let's just wait and see. Euro GBP 4 hour. Euro GBP. Enrique, what are you looking at? What you going long, short, based of what? What you looking at? Short, based off. Why are you looking at this chart and telling yourself to go short? What's it based off what? Okay, let's see our trade. Okay, so that's a nice candle on the 5-minute chart. I would really like to see continuation. Okay, now what's key for my trade is to break the lows of this candle. So if this candle goes below this low, that would give me confirmation that there might be a continuation. If it breaks the top of this candle, I might consider just taking the loss on this little trade, because a break of this candle and a continuation higher would take prices all the way maybe to these levels or this level right there. So let's see how price forms around these levels, and then I'll decide how to manage a trade. Okay, the trade. My setup is intact, but I might be getting short at the lowest point, or at a very low point. So this market might continue higher before a better entry point presents. Now, if it goes in my favor, I also need to decide how to manage this, because this, okay, once that low has been broken, okay, let's drop to the 1 minute chart. Kind of there's this tail, but market should test the low, okay, should test those levels. So that would be the scalp trade, the scalp target, and I can either take profits there and then look for a new trade, for a new setup, or I can convince myself to swing this trade, because as we mentioned, in case we have a continuation lower, so we might see if we can manage to break these levels right here, we might see an aggressive movement all the way to this demand back here. So I might just hold this trade, but I need to see how price forms around that area. Okay, let's keep reading price together. And do I also look at indices the same way? Yeah, exactly the same. Indices, I don't go to lower time frames. I know S&P and all those indices. I look at the larger time frames. I don't intraday trade. I don't do day trading on the indices, but I buy and hold. But same concept. Let me see if I have an example here. We'll finish managing this trade, and I'll show you some indices. Okay, now look at this. I have new information. Okay, I have buyers coming into the market. Okay, they push the market at the last seconds of the 5-minute chart of the 5-minute candle. They just came out and buy. Now they might establish now a higher low than this one. Okay, on a 5-minute chart. So a higher low might open up the door for a leg higher. Okay, I need to be aware of this, because we were forming lower highs and we're forming lower lows, and now we had a lower a higher low than this one. Okay, can you see that? So that trade failed to continue lower, and I can react to that. Okay, I can decide to cancel my trade. Okay, I can take a break-even trade, because my initial analysis, the fact that the price would go to these levels, is now being the market is invalidating my analysis. Okay. Of course, as long as this level holds, we haven't established a higher high. Okay, so we're still in this little downtrend. Okay, and let's see how market decides to go, because we have tails at the top, we have now a new tail at the bottom. So let's see what next few minutes tell us about where the market wants to go. Shabazz, what research work you recommend? That's a tricky question because depending on the trading style you're using, you will have different risk rewards. You know, our ratios, they're dynamic. So for scalpers, okay, what you see me doing here, which is kind of a scalping technique, I can have a very high win rate with a break-even risk reward, or even a negative risk reward. Okay, so as long as I have a win rate, a high win rate, I can compensate my negative or break-even risk reward. If you're swinging or your position trade, okay, if you're trading based on the longer time frames and holding your trades for longer, then ideally you want to have a positive risk reward, 2-to-1, 2.5-to-1, 3-to-1. The higher the better, correct? But it's something you need to adapt to your trading style. Okay, pushing that line and being rejected again. Okay. So let's wait for new information and see what the market can tell to us. So this trade, okay, this little setup I enter, and actually I could take my stop. I could drag it to here, okay, above this pivot point there, because once that breaks now, okay, that would create a higher high, okay, and that would be a change in direction of the trend. Okay, now the fact that I entered very small on my first trade, that gives me flexibility to manage my trade, my position size. Okay, so I can keep this higher, and then depending on how prices form, I can add into my trade, okay, the rest of my position size. Of course, when I'm trading a 100K account, 1 mini lot is not the lot size I want to be managing. Okay, I want to manage larger accounts, larger lot size. So trading small gives me that possibility to keep adding into my trades or reducing size, okay, when I need to. Okay, now look at this. The Euro USD is failing to go up. Okay, you can see how we have a bullish candle, and then this bullish candle, and buyers are not coming into the market. Okay, those two candles was a great opportunity for buyers to keep pushing the market high, and the fact that that's not happening is telling me that these might continue lower. Okay, when you expect something to happen and the opposite happens, or doesn't happen, okay, after this candle right here, I would expect a continuation higher. When that doesn't happen, then you expect the opposite to happen. So now I don't want to be a buyer anymore, okay, and in this setup, I want to be a seller. So I can either take the breaking, okay, the breakout test. I can I can place a sell stop at this level, or, and the way I prefer to enter the market is to actually see the break, confirmation of a breakout, the retest of the breaking level, and then the continuation, okay, to join that level. I'm not a huge fan of breakout tests or of breakout trades. I'm more a fan of a retest of the breaking area and then continuation. Okay, I like this break. Now I really want to see continuation. I'm kind of surprised that that this stopped right there and then and didn't continue all the way to the lows. Okay, I see nothing. I see nothing at these levels to stop the market right there where it did, instead of going all the way down. So let's see if we can have a continuation lower. Come on. Okay, breakout traders would be right now looking to sell and maybe nervous because the breakout is not happening. So I used to trade that way. Now I'm not a huge fan of that. So I'd rather see the breakout and then retest, and then I join the movement. Okay, let's throw a quick poll here. Should I take profits, or should I swing? Try to swing. That's the $1 million question. Look, if I bring my stops to here, then I have 6, almost 7 pip risk, and I would be taking around 7 pips of profit. So that would be a 1-to-1. That's good for a scalp. Not good enough for a swing. So let's keep reading price. And I really don't see why are we not getting to the lows. Should be testing the lows. Once we broke this line, okay, the opportunity to form a movement higher was negated. So we should see continuation lower. I don't know why we're not seeing that. Okay, now we took profits right there. Let's see if let's see if we have the breakout, or okay, there. Okay, you see how we tested the lows, exactly where the take profit was, and now we're having the reaction. Okay, that was a 8 pips trade, nice one. And you see now the buyers coming in. Now, why I don't regret, if I see the breakout, I never cry on spilled milk, okay? If I see a breakout, I will look for opportunities to join that movement instead of, you know, taking my take profit lower and then just seeing this price probably correcting all the way to these levels. So I'm fine with taking profits. I'm always happy bringing money into the account. If I see a break, I will do the same I did, or I'm waiting to do here. Okay, I want to see a clear break of these levels. on that breakout, I want to see some closing. I want to see new supply being formed here, and then I would look for a retest of that level, and then continuation lower. Okay, so I'm always happy to take money into the account. Okay, and actually it looks like it wants to break. You see how we had this tailed bar that failed, closing on the lows. So there's a lot of pressure on those lows. So I won't be surprised if we see the break lower. Luis, don't worry. We just joining. We just finished a trade. We just took profits, some nice profits here. And now let me jump into the way I read. I'm just 1 second. Okay. Share. Okay, so regarding indices, I don't scalp or do intraday trading on indices, but I do invest on S&Ps and DAX and all the major indices. So I look for the same things. Okay, I look for demand area or here or all these key levels. Of course, these indices, the S&P, they have a clearer trend than the Forex market. The Forex market is more a ranging market than a trending market, but indices and stocks are more trending. So I usually don't go short on indices and stocks. I try to go long, but I don't go long at the top. Okay, I wait for pullbacks, okay, and then continuation, or a pullback to a key level, and then I look for this to join the bullish market. Same with Bitcoin, same with everything. Okay, but the time frame is just arbitrary. There's at least on the Forex market. Let's go back to the charts. Because the Forex market is timeless, correct? The market will move from key point to key point. This is just representations, okay, of time. So same analysis, an analysis that works on one time frame, it works on all time frames. Okay, so that's the message. Okay, let's see here. We have the break. And I like this candle here because that just confirms a new tiny supply. So now pull back to this area, this square here, I will be looking for opportunities to resell this market. Okay. Barry, so I started explaining my view on the dollar, which is just strengthening. So I'm just looking for opportunities to buy USD right now. So we on the dailies we had this break and the retest of the breaking area and continuation higher. So that same principle of break, retest to demand and continuation, that's what we're trying to apply here on the 1 minute chart. Okay, a break, retest, and then continuation lower. So I want to be buying. That's all I know. Of course, depending on the setup and the time frame, you do need to be aware of resistance, and if that breaks all the way to the highs. Okay, but my bias is to a stronger dollar USD. Okay, now look at the difference between this break and this break. Okay, we have the break and then we're just compressing. Okay, this is not a nice breakout. I don't like this breakout. For me, this is it's going to be a false breakout. And I really want to see the price gaining momentum to the downside before I consider shorting this market. Okay, if this continues compressing this way, that's because we are inside, okay, that major support area, and market will have a hard time just continuing in a straight line all the way to this lows. Okay, it will go very, very slowly to that level. Stephen, do I draw demand and supply using wicks or body of candles? I try to zoom in as much as possible, but I do consider wicks. But then I try to go to a lower time frame to see how the wick was formed and to see if there was again supply or demand formed there. Let me give you an example of that. USD CAD daily. Okay, so you see this wick right here. Okay, so if we want to determine if this wick formed a new demand, which now backwards we know it did, because we see the first touch of that demand and the reaction lower. But in real time, was this demand or not? Okay, this is a huge wick, so we go to lower time frames. So let's start with the hourly, and let's go and see how it was formed. Okay, and now you can see like a X-ray of that candle. Okay, this V shape, that's the wick we saw on the dailies, but with detail now. So we see supply here, and we see supply there. And if you want to refine this more, then you can go to the 50-minute chart or whatever. You can keep refining. Now let's throw those lines, and let's see where price reacting. Okay, look at this. Okay, it reacted to the top one. Okay, to the top demand, to the top supply. I'm sorry. So it's quite amazing. Okay, I mean, for a few pips, if we keep refining and really doing the analysis work, you can see where price stopped and then reversed. Okay, now look at this. Euro USD, look at this movement. Now, this is the kind of movement I was looking at. Okay, I was looking for, because this kind of movement creates kind of a new key. This might be a new supply, okay, or on the 1-minute chart, okay. But this is more important, okay. This 1, 2 continuation. This is more important than this one right here, where there was no continuation. Okay, lower. So if price goes to this area, I will see how that forms, and I might try to short again. Okay. Let's see what's going on the pound. Okay, pound, we have the movement up here. And if I go short on this area, my exit point is very clear, because I need to get out of any trade at the opposite side of this supply. Because if that fails, there's no, that was like compressing right here, so there's no supply here. So a break of this supply area will go all the way maybe to this area here. So there's no need to hold that longer. So if price comes to this area, I will see how that forms. I will look for clues to go short, and then my trades, my stops will be at the top, okay, at the opposite side. Of course, if price ever goes there. So now, if price on the 5-minute chart, if it just continues going lower in that way, this movement is already overextended. So as we approach the red line, which is the bottom of the support, we're 20 pips away of that, we can still look for opportunities to buy this market. So as long as I don't see any key or any good retracement on the 5-minute chart, if this just continues lower, as we approach this red line, I will be looking to buy this market, okay, just to catch a pullback on the 5-minute chart. If we approach this support with pullbacks before, then I won't do that, okay, that's my plan. Barry, USD franc close to supply level. Let's see that. One hour. Yeah, that's a nice supply, correct. Okay, we have this. Okay, that's a supply. That movement there, okay, started all this movement down. So we had an up movement, okay, a rally, a base, and a drop. So that creates fresh supply. But given the context, okay, we are approaching that supply from a much stronger movement, okay, which based on the fundamentals and the dailies. So there might be some reaction there. You do want to be cautious shorting this area without enough confirmation, because the bullish movement might be stronger than that supply back there on the hourlies. But it is a supply level, okay, that's no doubt. And the fact that we are compressing towards the supply, it might give you a selling opportunity, but overall bias right now is to the upside. Okay. But now that I see the hourly, you see the compression. Okay, look at this kind of movement. Okay, different from this kind of movement. So this is a nice pullback, continuation, pullback, range, drop, pullback. Okay, so this is healthy movement. This movement is a compression. Okay, when you have choppy, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So consumes all demand, consumes all supply. So many times once that movement, that formation meets a key supply like this one, we tend to see a strong reaction to the downside. So that might be the case. No retracements, no retracements. Just down, down, down. Stephen, so you would wait for breakout and enter on retest long. On what time frame are you looking at, or what pair, Stephen? Those cards doesn't mean that the USD franc will have a next bearish move. I have no idea. I wish I knew, correct? I'm just telling you what I see. I see compression. Okay, all demand, all supply being consumed on this movement and about to test a supply area. So that tends to cause a movement down. Okay, but of course, this might just, there might be a news announcement or something, and we might just break through the supply area. I have no idea, correct? Yeah, so dollar franc, I was before, when this break happened, I was waiting for this retest, okay, to come to this demand to go long. I already took profits on that trade in my account, and I sent that one on the trade ideas. Right now, I'm not sure if we're going to break this resistance, okay? Because yeah, we see like a movement, a pullback. This looks healthy on the dailies, but when we go to the hourlies, we see the compression. We see the up and down movement. All this channel right here. So I'm not sure we're going to, I don't know if this is going to gain momentum and break the supply, or it's going to react and go lower. I don't know. Okay, guys, I think we'll wrap up. We had a nice session. We gained some pips, some profits. Looking at the chart right now, okay, let's bring our trade history. Okay, looking at the chart backwards, it's very easy to say, why didn't I hold this trade? Okay, I would be up another 10 or 11 pips. Okay, but that's irrelevant to my trading. Okay, same way the market broke and continued lower, could have reversed and gone higher. Okay, so as long as I, my take profit was placed in a valid point, okay, in a scalp target area, and I took profits there, I'm fine with that. Okay, you don't have to. You need to be. We have to learn to be more methodical and systematic, and don't being so. We don't have to care much about any single trade. Okay, with the years, I'm very careless of a single trade, as long as I'm making money and being consistent and following my rules. Making backtesting or backwards judgments of your own trading or your trade management is very irrelevant, because the market will react every time in a different way. So I'm fine. Okay, guys. So I'm happy with the trade I took with the profits, and now if I have a new opportunity, I might consider selling again. Okay. So guys, thanks for coming. It's been a pleasure, and see you next week. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Thank you, guys.